The music provided for this episode of the Tom Retro Chronicle is brought to you by the song called Change Choices from the artist called Teru. To check out more Podsafe music, check out dig.ccmixter.org. A 1, a 2, a 3, 4, 5. It is the Tom Retro Chronicle with your host called Tom Retro.
Looking good, baby!
Tom Retro is also known as the Retro Guy and has a very interesting angle on things like sports, music, movies, books, and pretty much mostly life. He has a WordPress account, a very funny Twitter account, and overall a very interesting guy. Yeah. And also has very interesting interviews like me, Arnold Schwarzenegger, yeah. So let's head it to our very own very special host called Tom Retro.
1, 2, 1, 2.
Choices may change, but our hearts remain the same, suspended between futures glimmering, shining, blinding hope. We no longer assume.
Welcome to the Tom Retro Chronicle, episode 11 of the Tom Retro Chronicle. I am taping this on a very, very cloudy Thursday afternoon in November, the last Thursday in November. Oh yes. Pretty soon it's going to be the month of December, shockingly. I've been doing this podcast for almost 7 or 5 months. 5 months. Crazy if you ask me. Not necessarily this, the Tom Retro Chronicle, but if you remember, I started the Darth Retro podcast back in late July. So pretty exciting time to be me. So some news to mention. I just got I went into a job interview with with Herberger's, and it actually turned out pretty good. They said they wanted to hire me, and I pretty much said yes. So I am now employed. Woohoo! So I'm pretty excited for that. So anyway, I have pretty light show for this episode. I have week 13 picks to make. And then I will talk about my take on ESPN as a whole network. So definitely be excited for that. So let's get started with the podcast. Well, with this week, there are only about 5 more weeks left into the NFL season if you want to count this week, as week 13 is pretty much coming up tonight. Tonight you have the Saints traveling to the Georgia Dome to take on the Falcons. And I like Atlanta in that matchup, so I will take the Falcons. I think the Falcons will learn their lesson in this game, and hopefully I will be right. I think the Saints are a pretty good story now that they have a sort of a resurgence going on, but I don't see them win this game. I just don't. So that's the Thursday night game, which is later tonight on NFL Network. I believe it's on 7:30. I think it is 7:30. I could be wrong, but So on to the Sunday slate. You have the first matchup I want to talk about is Arizona at New York against the Jets. I'll take Arizona, even though I think Arizona is pretty bad. I'll still take Arizona in this one, even though I'm pretty sure the Jets will win it. Oh, excuse me, a little bit of yawn there, but I like to believe in the Cardinals. I think the Jets will lose this game based on the fact that Mark Sanchez is bad, and they don't really have anyone else that is worthy to take the mantle of stepping up for the Jets in that game. So I will take Arizona. Carolina at Kansas City. I will take Carolina. Chiefs don't look good, and the Panthers look about the best. They are the best 3-8 team in the league right now. So I will take Carolina. Minnesota at Green Bay. And of course, I will take the Packers. The Packers are favored by 8 in this matchup. Supposedly, Greg Jennings is going to be back for the Packers, which God hoping he doesn't get re-injured again. I pray to God that he doesn't get injured again, because the game against the Giants, we certainly should have. We could have used a little bit more weapons, and Aaron Rodgers looked pretty much lost in this one. And I think Aaron Rodgers will win another game against the Vikings, since for about the 5th straight time, I think they'll get the win. Indianapolis at Detroit. I will take the Colts. The Colts are the hot team going into the first Sunday of December, and I don't think the Lions will mount a pretty good pass rush this one, but Andrew Luck will pretty much have a good day against the Colts secondary, or the Lions secondary, I should say. But so I will take the Colts. Houston at Tennessee. I will take Houston. Texans are favored by 6. I believe that number would have been a little bit more higher if it wasn't for the lack of defense in the last 2 games, especially against Detroit. That Thanksgiving game against Detroit was a pretty good surprise. I didn't think that the Houston's defense would have been bad that game, but New England at Miami. Not much to say in this matchup. The Patriots are 43-7 under Bill Belichick in the month of December, and I see this one continuing the trend for Bill Belichick and company. Jacksonville at Buffalo. I will take the Bills in this one. I've heard the weather at Buffalo for this Sunday is going to be 55 degrees. Which is no walk in the park for the Jacksonville Jaguars, which are naturally a warm weather team. I think the Jaguars will have a tough time establishing a good rhythm on offense, since their running game is 31st in the league. And I think the Bills will win this one by a pretty decent margin. I think by 6 maybe, but who knows. Seattle at Chicago. I will take a Chicago. Seattle is in a good road team, especially against the Dolphins last week. I will take. Wow, excuse me again. Goodness gracious, I'm yawning by quite a lot. I will take Chicago, based on the fact that Chicago is pretty good right now. Now that they have Jay Cutler back. So San Francisco at St. Louis. I will take the 49ers in this one. This game will be the third straight start for Colin Kaepernick as the Niners quarterback. He'll have a good game against the Rams defense, and I think I see this one going easily by 10 for the 49ers. Pittsburgh at Baltimore. I will take the Ravens in this one. Everything will depend on whether if Ben Roethlisberger will be ready for this game. I don't think either way. I don't think the Steelers will win this game. I mean, in a hostile environment in Baltimore, and plus Joe Flacco is pretty good at home, so I will take the Ravens in this one. So Cleveland at Oakland, toilet bowl game written all over it. The Browns look good, so I'll go with my gut. And my belief is that Cleveland will win this game. Tampa Bay at Denver. I will take the Broncos, even though the Buccaneers are looking pretty good. I still think the Buccaneers are a playoff team. But I just think the Broncos will win this game. So Cincinnati at San Diego. I will take the Bengals. Chargers look like crap, especially last week against the Ravens. The 4-29 play. So, excuse me again. That's gracious. I should really mind my manners. My apologies. But so I'll take the Bengals. Philadelphia at Dallas. I will take the Cowboys. The Cowboys at home against a pretty bad Eagles team. I will take the Cowboys in this one pretty easily. And probably the best game of the week is actually on a Monday night. For probably the first time since week 2, I believe, or was it week 3? Maybe it was week 3, but I don't know. It was the Broncos and Falcons game. That was a pretty good game for ESPN. And this week's matchup is the Giants go to Washington, and I'll take the G-Men. I'll take the G-Men in this one. So, reason behind it is that I think this game will go into a shootout, and I think the Giants will pull off the win and against their division rival. And in terms of picks, I'm pretty much done with it. So my market, which is in Fargo, North Dakota, we have the Minnesota Green Bay game for the Fox single header, and then we have the Colts Lions game on the early slate on CBS, and then you have the Pittsburgh and Baltimore game on the late slate for CBS. So, on to the next topic, which is my take on ESPN. So, I'm pretty sure you're pretty much asking me, why are you really getting into like a conversation about your take about what ESPN is, and I don't know. I don't know. I really didn't really think about it all that much. I don't claim myself to be an expert or anything like that, but the thing is, if I say I'm right, then you know what? I'm right. I'm right. I should deserve no criticism for that. But you know what? If I make a mistake, if I'm dead wrong on something, I will gladly own up to it, and I will say I am an idiot for even saying that thing. So, especially from, for example, the Colin Kaepernick and Alex Smith thing. You know what? I thought, if Alex Smith was healthy, give him the start and not start Kaepernick. So, you know what? I thought, and I basically said, you know what? I was wrong. Colin Kaepernick was pretty much a pretty good quarterback. So maybe there was something going on with the 49ers that I just don't see. I don't know, with ESPN, my thing with ESPN is that, they used to be so much respect. They used to be respectable. Before Disney bought them, and it used to be back when ESPN wasn't involved with ABC. It used to be pretty good. ABC Sports used to be respectable. Okay. Now what is it? It's nothing. It's nothing. My ABC Sports used to be Monday Night Football, and that was basically their moneymaker, which was the Monday Night Football games. And whereas Monday Night Football games are now, where are they now on ESPN? They lose so much. They don't get as much viewers as they would if they were still on ABC. That's all. And the problem is, I don't know, it's in terms of credibility, I don't have any credibility. They don't have any credibility with me. I just don't find them credible in their sources, especially when they say, according to sources, blah 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 has a new contract, blah blah blah, blah 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 blah. When you were taught in journalism school, you were always taught to always attribute to your sources, even if they were your competitors. Okay? According to sources does not count as something. Okay? According to sources is something like, to me it says that you don't want to live up to someone's credit. You don't want to give someone the credit of putting up that story that they worked so hard to get. And especially, for example, on the Dan Patrick Show, I believe Glazer mentioned that his name must be a source, because all the time that when ESPN uses him as a resource, they replace his name with the phrase called "sources tell us," according to sources. So in journalism school, especially in broadcasting, you're supposed to attribute to your sources. Okay? Because it makes you look even more stupid than you possibly are. Okay? Especially like in preschool, or actually maybe not preschool, but elementary school and middle school. Okay? Middle school, you're supposed to quote sources. Okay? Either that either use your own words or use your own, or use the person, or use the quote. Okay. If you don't, it's called plagiarism, and certainly ESPN isn't that low to plagiarize someone, but you know what? You still have to give credit when credit is due. And for example, Jake Glazer, he's probably one of the best NFL insiders in the game in broadcasting. I mean, you have Jason Lockenfora, Adam Schefter, so those guys are pretty good. So, another thing I don't really care for ESPN is the fact that they cover Tebow pretty much any time, any day of the week. Okay? I'm pretty sure Tebow is a pretty nice guy. He seems like a good guy. It seems like he's like the kind of guy you want to have a beer with and talk about life. But he is not that great of a quarterback. Okay? He's not that great. Just stop. No. I think they did a whole entire day, which was Tim Tebow's birthday, and they did 24 hours coverage of it. Just stop. Tim Tebow's not that great. Okay. He's not that great of a quarterback. Okay. Stop trying to make news and cover the news. Stop trying to make up stories for something that people don't really care about. Okay? Just cover the news. That's all you do. Another criticism that I heard is that it's almost like TMZ. It's like almost TMZ. It's almost like Nancy Grace. If I dare say that ESPN is almost like Nancy Grace. It's almost like I don't know, when trying to think of some kind of example. One example is that during the whole Penn State scandal, which they were actually pretty late in covering, because I think it was like about a week after the report came out that Jerry Sandusky had molested boys in a shower. But I think they were covering Bernie Fine, the whole Bernie Fine thing, and I thought, goodness gracious, I thought they had a certain bias towards the Big Ten, and certainly the Big Ten Network didn't really cover a whole lot of the Jerry Sandusky thing. But you know what? So, another criticism that I don't really care for is they have so much bias towards teams. Like, if you live in New York, Boston, LA, or Chicago, which are basically kind of the more big cities in the U.S., if you live outside those areas, if you live in Minnesota, if you live in Mississippi, if you live in Idaho, they don't really give a crap about you. Okay? They're more concerned about Tim Tebow running around in the rain than some head coach getting a new job in Idaho. They just don't care. Okay? Especially in Boston, especially in baseball, which ESPN doesn't even really care about baseball, but they don't really care about the baseball. And as a Red Sox fan, I do like the attention to our team, but you know what? I want to hear other teams. I want to hear the whole entire 30 clubs of Major League Baseball. I could care less about the Yankees. That's why I prefer NFL Network. I prefer MLB Network. I prefer NBA TV. I prefer the NHL Network. I prefer just about any other place other than ESPN. On NFL Network is great. They cover all 32 teams. Of course, ESPN is like some sort of show called NFL 32, which they cover 32 teams, but that's only like for about half an hour. And NFL Network covers all 32 teams in a day. Okay? They don't have a certain bias. They don't have bias. Rich Eisen is great. He has a great job at NFL Network. Okay? NFL Network doesn't just cover the Patriots, Jets, Giants, Bears, Packers. I don't know who else they would cover, but you know what? So for NBA coverage is a whole nother story, because ESPN, just about almost every game, every time they have an NBA game on, it's usually the Lakers, because somehow or another they have a studio in LA, which they have to cater to. They have to cater to the. They have to cater to Magic Johnson. They have to cater to Bill Simmons. They have to cater to basically everyone else that doesn't want to make the trip to Bristol, Connecticut, to where the headquarters of ESPN is. They don't want to make the trip, which I guess I can understand that. But you know what? They have a bias against them. They have a bias towards the Lakers and the Clippers, but more or less the Lakers than anything else in this world. Okay. No. So I'm almost done. Pretty much done with. I'm almost done with this round, but I don't watch ESPN as much as I used to, like 5 years ago. Skip Bayless is another reason why I don't watch ESPN as much. The guy alone is pretty much an argument starter that he starts arguments that doesn't even make sense. Like for example, the trying to think of some example. He mentioned that he was more impressed with Tim Tebow than Aaron Rodgers last season. Okay. For one, Aaron Rodgers has a ring, and Tim Tebow doesn't even have a Super Bowl ring. No. He's never taken a team to 15-1. Tim Tebow doesn't have a Super Bowl ring. He doesn't have squat, okay? He doesn't have squat, okay? So I don't find any credibility with Skip Bayless. So you're probably asking me, what do I watch on ESPN? Which I do watch a few shows on ESPN. I watch Round the Horn. I watch Pardon the Interruption. I tend to watch most of their college football games. Usually I tend to stay away from their SEC matchups with another conference because usually they have a bias towards the SEC. And then I usually watch the college basketball season. Usually I try to stay away from the Duke, North Carolina games with another team. Like, for example, like say North Carolina versus our Florida State, which usually they have a certain bias towards. They have usually a bias towards other teams other than Duke or North Carolina. So, trying to think of some other ones that other shows that I watch. I watch Dan Le Batard as highly questionable. I find Dan Le Batard he's a pretty funny guy, I will admit. But other than that, I would probably watch the Monday night matchups if they're pretty good. Other than that, it's kind of crap. Most of their games are pretty much crappy anyway. But I guess this past Monday's game was pretty good. I will admit that. So, where do I get my sports news from? I usually get my sports news from other sources. I get my sources from CBS Sports. I get my stuff from Pro Football Talk. I usually get my sources from certain Facebook pages on Facebook. I'm an admin for the Game Sports Network, which is a pretty cool Facebook page for if you're into other teams, other sports. We're pretty good. We don't have a bias. We usually tend to look at other. We usually look at other teams. We usually look at other sports as well. So, so definitely check us out. It's the Game Sports Network. Check us out on Facebook, like us, and we do like to go into quite a bit of some debates. So bring your A game, because we will bring ours. So in terms of this episode of the podcast, I will be pretty much done with it. So I will see you all next Tuesday for week 13 with the week 13 recap. So thank you once again for listening to the podcast. I am out. Peace out.
Glimmering, shining.